Crosby's a very different player, not just a goal scorer. He skates, he backchecks, and he does a lot of different things than other superstars are doing. You never know what he's going to do. Sidney is a complete player. That's a quote from Martin Brodeur, one of the NHL's one of the best goalies that the NHL has ever seen. When Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin burst onto the scene in the fall of 2005, the NHL was coming off a lockout that some believed would end the sport. Hockey needed young stars to be the faces of the league for years to come. The fans got exactly what they asked for because Crosby and Ovechkin were just as they were advertised. Now, with both of them having multiple years of experience under their belts, many people pose the question, Crosby or Ovechkin? Who is the best player in the NHL? Today I will touch on a few points on why Crosby is the best. First off, we're going to start off with Sidney Crosby's team accomplishments because we all know that you measure one individual's success by the success of their team. And I'm going to start off with, of course, the world competition and the Olympics that each of one of them played in. Sidney Crosby, of course, won a gold medal in Vancouver in the 2010 Winter Olympics for Team Canada because he is obviously from Canada. And not only did he win the gold medal, but he scored the game-winning goal for Team Canada against Team USA in the finals. Along the way, along his path to winning the gold, Sidney Crosby absolutely crushed Alexander Ovechkin's team. He beat them in the opening round in the semis at a score of 7-3. Team Russia finished 7th, where Alexander Ovechkin is from, and Sidney Crosby, of course, won the gold and finished first. Now, on to the next team event, which would be in the NHL, of course, which both of them play in currently. Sidney Crosby won the Stanley Cup in 2009 and made it to a second Stanley Cup the year before in 2008, both playing against the Detroit Red Wings. Actually, Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin faced off in the year that he won the Stanley Cup in 2009. And in Game 7 of the 2009 Eastern Conference Finals against the Washington Capitals, which of course Alexander Ovechkin plays on, Sidney Crosby scored 2 goals opposed to Ovechkin's 0 goals. And for a little side note, Alexander Ovechkin has yet to make it to any Stanley Cup Finals. He always seems to choke in the finals, or he can't quite win the big game yet. Now on to the next step, which would obviously be their individual statistics that they've racked up along the years. Crosby in his career has a total of 609 points, which is either a goal or an assist is how you record a point. And he has those 609 points in 434 games. Ovechkin, on the other hand, has a career total of 679 points, but he did it in 553 games, which is around 120 games more. He has 120 games more than Crosby has under his belt. So when you average that out, Crosby averages around 1.4 points per game compared to Ovechkin's 1.22 points per game. While some claim Ovechkin to be a so-called sniper, which is what some will call that he's a goal scorer and can score from any part of the ice at any angle at any time. Actually, Crosby's shooting percentage is higher than that of Alexander Ovechkin's. Crosby has a 15% shooting percentage compared to Ovechkin's 12% shooting percentage, which means when Crosby shoots, he has a 15% chance that it's going to go into the back of the net compared to Ovechkin's 12. I know who I'd want shooting the puck. Crosby not only is a goal-scoring threat, but he also likes to dish out the puck, or he likes to pass and give other people the claim to fame and let them be in the spotlight and score their goals. Crosby averages .88 assists per game, whereas the shot-happy Ovechkin, he averages a lower .66 assists per game. So it shows that Crosby is not only a playmaker, is not only a goal scorer, but he's also a playmaker. That means that he he's not looking out for himself as old times, where Ovechkin will shoot the puck from the opposite side of the ice if he could every time. So Crosby makes all of his team around him better, where Ovechkin is selfish and really hasn't learned that aspect in his career yet. And on another part, where Alexander Ovechkin hurts his team is that he's a very aggressive player, which can get him in trouble sometimes. Ovechkin has been fined twice by the league and suspended twice on 2 separate occasions by the NHL for violent hits on players, whether it was leading with his elbow or leaving his skates to lay a check on another player. And when your best player on your team gets suspended, it ultimately hurts your team, whether it was a selfish player or whatever you did. Crosby, on the other hand, has never been suspended for any of his hits or any of his actions that he has done on the ice. With the lockout occurring right now, who knows when the next NHL game will be. But in my book, Sidney Crosby, today, is the best NHL player in the world.